One more time. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing fine. My name is Skyline, and welcome for the second time on stream after our little oomph. Anyway, today we're doing Singapore versus Russia on Lunar Colony. Ooh, a map we don't get to see very much. And then Path of Exile has an expansion coming out, so we'll just be playing that for the next forever, I guess. Anyway, here we are. It is Lunar Colony. We get to see our team compositions. We get to get out our handy dandy pen tool. And so Singapore is running a Reaper. Oh, goody. So now we haven't done a map mastery on this map yet because I haven't quite been 100% convinced by anything strat-wise. But we will see. And we have the wrong title. There we go. We're all set. And the game's going. Now, if we look at these two team compositions, Singapore is running something really, really weird, and Russia is running something really, really normal. Russia is running the standard 2-2-2 dive composition with Zenyatta, Genji Tracer, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. That's pretty standard. But Singapore, whoa, what's this? Well, they're running a Reaper. Why do we run a Reaper on Lunar Colony? Well, it's because the idea on the first point is that the first point is relatively small and a little bit protected, so the Reaper can just sit back, and when you dive the Reaper, he goes pew 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 with his shotguns, does a ton of damage, and he kills everyone. Also, there's a Mei. There's a Mei here, which is presumably good because you can wall off one of the entrances because there are several, and limit the number of directions that the enemy team is coming from. We also have a Zarya to presumably, I don't know. The Zarya is just sort of there. She can shield the Reaper. She has an ultimate that you can combo with the Reaper. She has an ultimate that you can combo with the Mei. So it's okay. It's okay. But when I first saw this team composition, I was like, man, Singapore's just going to lose. They just lose, right? And we're going to see that indeed they just lose. We'll watch it happen, and then we'll explain why they lose so badly after this. Anyway, Sherrick on Winston. He's going up. And now notice how much ground Russia is getting here. They're pushed all the way up to the point. Literally nobody to contest them at all. So he's pushing up and getting damage in. Maywell comes out. He jumps over. This is part of the reason why D.Va and Winston are so good. A little bit of a reason is that they completely negate any sort of Mei shenanigans. And then we jump in. Everyone dies. And cool. We don't really lose anybody either. I think we just lose a D.Va mech. Shadowburn eventually dies. Nice leap there, by the way, by Sherrick to jump over the pulse bomb. But pitter-patter. That's it. I don't know why pitter-patter was the word there. Let's actually hop into Lunar Colony and see what we can see. Now, Reaper, I feel like Reaper in this latest patch has been just a trap. 100% trap. Like, every time someone runs it, you think, huh, that's kind of cool. I can see that maybe being a thing. But then it never ever works out. So let's hop into the map. Here we are on Lunar Colony. Let's take a look at the first point, which is right here. So the idea of it all is somewhat okay. The idea is, well, this is a really small point, lots of little corners and things to hide behind. So basically the other team is forced to come in, after which point the Reaper will kill them, and the Mei will wall them off. And okay, that sounds fine. And you're kind of covered from long range. You can't be poked very easily from long range because you can hide behind these corners. Yeah, right. Sure, that sounds fine. But there's a big problem in that, and the problem is just there are too many entrances. There's 1, 2, 3. There's one from way in the back. You can flank around to get to this back area back here. So there are really 4 entrances, which is almost impossible to defend, especially when you have a team composition like this. Let's get the full team comp like this. that really doesn't have much in the way of staying power. You don't have a Torbjorn, you don't have a Bastion. You can't just like sit there and kill people and shred people. Not that that would be particularly good, but here you especially can't do that. If we go back to the map though, what else are we missing? Well, now the enemy can get this high ground, shoot you from here, shoot you from here. So although you'll technically be safe, you'll be so limited that it's pretty difficult to do anything. And I mean, these aren't even short angles here. These are relatively decent length angles. Good, solid mid-range. More than enough to be good against Mei or Reaper. And basically on Horizon Lunar Colony, you can't let the other team go and smash you in this far. But we'll see another push a little bit later on, which will let us see more here. Let's take a look at the second point though, real quick. Okay, so on Russia, they're still attacking. Shadowburn has a blade, that's always scary. Winston has an ultimate as well. Zenyatta on Transcendence doesn't quite have it yet, but he will. And we already have an early pick onto Cup. No more Lucio for Singapore, and that's pretty big. Oh no, he had a barrier. Shadowburn can kill everyone now. And that's kind of what you would assume would happen, but there was this great swap onto Pharah, and Pharah is, despite being a pretty obviously good pick for this map, surprisingly not seen 100% as much as I would think. And so, well, it's certainly not a novel idea to run Pharah on the second point of Lunar Colony. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You should probably run that a little bit more. Absolutely phenomenal. Notice that, well, Chao, he has the soldier pick. He swapped off of the D.Va because soldier can stand up here and it's super strong to shoot downward. But regardless, D.Va's just so strong because of the rafters. Let's actually shimmy our way over to the second point. Hey, Finalexa, what is up? Shimmy our way over to the second point. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. So yeah, these rafters make Pharah a very dangerous force. Especially, even with a soldier, if she floats up here, she has an advantage against the soldier. And it's very good. That's probably the best swap they could have possibly had, considering that Singapore was down ultimates like that. Really big comeback pick. Obviously, if the Pharah dies, she dies. But as far as potential ways to possibly deal with Shadowburn having a blade and all the momentum that Russia had, that was certainly the way to go about it. And so we also see Neo Tears switch off to the soldier here from Mei, which makes sense because Mei is pretty bad on the second point. He was only staying on the Mei so that he could use his Blizzard before. Without a Blizzard, there's no reason to run Mei because what are you going to wall off? I mean, you could wall things off. Like, if we have a push there, you could wall this off, but then they could just jump off. That's okay. It's okay. You could wall this off. You could wall this off. Actually, Mei's not the worst. I would say that you wouldn't even have to swap off the Mei necessarily, but Mei was especially supposed to be good on the first point. At least that was what Singapore's plan was. Young Eunji takes out Zhao again. Zhao, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I forgot. I was listening to the cast. I literally watched the cast like 2 or 3 times, and I still didn't pick up on it. Zhao, I think, is the soldier player. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. But anyway, Russia's going to push in again. What do they have this time? Well, Shadowburn has Blade. Forsaken has... They have everything. They have everything. Also, swap off to the D.Va, by the way, which I do like. Now, if we take a look once again here at good old Lunar Colony, it is pretty strong to have your soldier up here going pew 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 and shooting downward. But it's not so strong against Pharah. As I was explaining earlier, Pharah camping up here does beat a soldier 100% of the time. There's no way for soldier to deal with that. She just has too much cover. It's too difficult. Instead, we're going off to the D.Va, and the D.Va will allow us to simply eat the rockets and push through. And then at some point, Shadowburn will kill the Pharah. At some point. That's the idea. because Genji certainly has the ability to kill a Pharah. Mistakes on Tracer, you know, a combination of damage from everyone can eventually kill her. But anyway, Shadowburn drops down. Notice he's not using the blade because we have a Lucio ult. He's being very patient. Shadowburn's always good with this, of course. And we have an early pick onto Zest. It was off camera. So, well, it was like somewhere over in that direction. And we're going to see a barrage here from Pharah. And the barrage is just going to get eaten by the D.Va. Not the best timing for the barrage. If she had played a little bit more passively, perhaps this fight could have turned out a little bit differently. But Shadowblade still has yet to use his blade, which means this fight's probably over. There it is. The blade comes out. Agent actually gets a nice kill onto him with a grenade, which could have actually is the thing that winds up winning that fight. The grenade kill by Ajin onto Shadowburn's Genji winds up bringing this in the end. So notice here, we have a D.Va, Tracer, Winston on the point. If Shadowburn were here, if the Genji were here, I think that they could have possibly pushed this through. But with only 3 players, there just wasn't enough time. Swap onto Sombra, by the way. And so I think that this swap was so that Young Genji could get to the point faster. It could have been because they just didn't like the Pharah anymore, which would make sense because, like, okay, they have the D.Va to deal with the Pharah. Maybe we shouldn't play the Pharah. I really like the Pharah, personally. I think the Pharah is really cool, and they didn't really have to swap off. But instead, they're playing with the Sombra. Now, is Sombra super good here on defense? Let's take a look at some of the strengths we have. Why are some people on level 5 accounts? It's because they're not playing on their actual accounts. They're playing on the Blizzard accounts. They're playing on just like the tournament client. Anyway. We have 2 health packs that are kind of relevant. We have this one right there in front of you. And then we have this one over here. I don't think that this is very great. I don't think that's too great. A lot of people are like, oh, well, 2 CP Sombra are really good because most of the time, most other 2 CP maps, 2 other ones, have really good positioning on the health packs, and it is extremely impactful. Plus, they have a really, really good map design that allows Sombra to get big EMPs very, very easily. That's Volskaya Industry, and of course, Temple of Anubis, the most famous one. But let's so just lock this into memory here. So we have the point. This is the point. We have a health pack around the corner, right here, and we have a small health pack quite a bit far off the point over here, which is okay. So let's actually take a look at Temple of Anubis now, real quick. We'll hop into that and point out the differences. And we'll see that there's quite a difference. So here we go, into Temple of Anubis. So why would Sombra be good on Temple of Anubis, but maybe not quite as good on Lunar Colony? So remember, Lunar Colony had, this is the point, health pack around the side, and then another small health pack, which would be the equivalent of like way over here. Okay. Temple of Anubis has the large health pack right here. And why is this? First of all, this is better for the defenders, right? Because you can be defending the point, you're defending, oh no, I took some damage, and hop right down and immediately get the health pack and immediately be on the point again. That's good. But what's the other thing? The other thing that's important to note is that it's not good enough to just have, oh, this health pack is good for us. You want to have a health pack that's really good for you, the defenders, and really good for the attackers as well, because then you're getting the full use out of the hack. You're denying it to them, and you're getting a ton for yourself. On Temple of Anubis, this health pack is incredibly strong for the attackers, because you can come over here, you're pushing, and then you just quickly drop down, you grab it, and then you continue pushing. Very strong. You're denying that to them, plus you're getting a strong health pack for yourself. And additionally, Sombra can come and she can hack this one as well, which is very strong for the attackers. Not so strong for this health pack's actually pretty useful sometimes for a Genji or a Tracer or something on defense. So this health pack is not terrible as well, but mostly that large health pack is just absolutely insane. And you can see a similar thing on the first point as well, but we're not going to go over to the first point. Instead, we'll just hop back to Lunar Colony now. And we'll actually also hop into the game to continue that. Ta-da! So we're going to see how this hacked health pack affects Singapore's movement. And it's in a pretty poor way. So Singapore is going to obviously be wanting to stay on that side. Note that. And note kind of what it does to them. We have a pretty lonely Winston here. I don't even know if he gets out of there. Oh, yes, he does because of the Lucio barrier. Cool, but okay. That's all of Singapore over here. And notice how weak this position looks. It looks very, very mediocre. Because now we have a couple choke points that are not so great. Russia has the points completely, like there isn't even any sight lines to the point here. And so, plus, combined with the 2 ticks from earlier, Singapore has to kind of suddenly rush into the point from mediocre positions. And they get sort of just wrecked, just completely stopped. And we finally have an EMP, but it's a little bit too late. And by a little bit, I mean quite a lot too late. And so clearly, even if he were to get the EMP much earlier, the atrocious positioning that resulted from it was not really super worth the EMP. But now we're going to take a look at the other side, as that's actually split up into 2 VODs for me. And we're going to look at Singapore attack. Yeah, that was really cute too, the lineup behind the pillar, I agree. We're going to look at Singapore attack now. And Singapore has another weird composition, similarly weird to how they had on defense. And it's going to kind of stall them out for a little while. It's a weird comp. Anyway, they have 1 support. They're running the triple DPS. So they have Lucio plus Sombra here. Anyway, it's Widowmaker, Sombra, Tracer. That's actually kind of cool. I think that that's not too bad. And let's actually take a look at the first point of Lunar Colony and see what it has to offer as far as health packs go for the attackers and defenders, I suppose, because both of these teams are running Sombra, both Russia and Singapore. And we see another example of a point that doesn't have very great health packs, especially for the defenders. So the defenders can get this little one right here. All right, let's give us a little bit of perspective here. Okay, so this is the point. We have a small health pack here. You can see it through the plants. That's okay. And then we have a large health pack that is over here. Okay. And that is once again okay. So from a defender point of view, how would we possibly defend these? As a defender, if we were to defend this, well, that's just obviously too far away. Okay. We can defend this, and the other team can just do this. Okay, so it's not that great to defend here. What about this? And it's a small health pack anyway, so who cares about that? Let's talk about the large health pack though. Can we possibly defend anything around this large health pack? Well, I guess we could defend here. That would be kind of mediocre because the other team can come take the high ground for free. They can come around here. Okay. Alternatively, we could hold the choke point, and that's not too bad actually. That's okay. That's not the worst. However, it still gives the other team access to the high ground where they'll definitely beat you down. They can come around, completely circumvent you. So I don't really like these health packs in terms of defense. On Lunar Colony, again, this is not a map mastery video. I'm not comfortable enough yet to really be confident about a single strat here, but definitely the high ground seems to be the most promising on Lunar Colony right here. You shut down the entire rest of the map, and if they try to circumvent you, you just jump down and you have a big advantage. What about for the attackers, though? What about the attackers using the health packs? For the attackers, this left health pack is pretty nice-ish because you can. It's pretty close to the point. You can definitely use it. I would say it's okay. It's a solid average. It's better for the attackers than the defenders. And for this one, again, it's a bit far away from the point. So the attackers, they have a little bit of a better health pack situation, but it's not like these health packs are pretty bad. I'm not a huge fan of the Sombras here, but we're going to see how they actually wind up panning out instead of talking about it forever. Let's zoom back a little bit more. Plus, one more thing about this composition is it has a Zarya. Ooh, that's kind of weird, right? Because normally you have triple DPS, D.Va with a Sombra, Lucio, and basically you're like, okay, let's go kill him. Just go kill him. EMP, and they all die, basically. So we want explosion. We want, we want a Winston. We want maybe a Genji. But instead, we're going for this a little bit strange mid-range approach. I don't mind the Widowmaker. I think that the Zarya that makes it a little bit strange because they're kind of banking on the Zarya combo now with the Sombra. It's not like a normal Sombra composition. Anyway, that was a pretty beautiful hack. As a result, it's going to be able to kill Shadowburn, but it doesn't matter as the attackers are forced away. And so most of these fights will happen in mid. In Lunar Colony on this first point, whoever controls, let's get a nice, there we go, and beautiful picture. Whoever controls this middle area generally wins, as a rule that I've been finding when I watch any matches on this map. That's why the high ground generally wins here, because it kind of automatically wins mid. But we also see that Russia is just kind of trying to take mid by themselves, and you can clearly see that Russia has mid. Singapore is not able to push into it. As a result, they lose the fight relatively handily. Rage of Tofu only at 36% on the Zarya, and considering how much Singapore is banking on it, I generally am not a fan of anything that is banking 100% on your Zarya getting ultimate, unless it's for some sort of special strategy. Here on Lunar Colony or Lunar Base, it's so attacker sided that I don't think you need to wait for that Zarya ultimate. Anyway, Ajin hasn't quite been able to find anything on Widowmaker. He should probably be trying the high ground, as Russia is not really contesting the high ground very much. And here an EMP gets unleashed by Forsaken that easily wipes the rest of this team. And also notice that Singapore is playing into Russia's strength. Russia should not be able to utilize these health packs at all, but because Singapore is trying to also utilize the health packs, because they have a Sombra, they're trying to contest it. When if they just took the high ground, Russia wouldn't be able to use any of this Sombra stuff, and none of that would have ever happened. Hello everyone who just joined, and welcome. Zest is going to be staggered here quite a bit. Nicely done by Russia, by the way. Tries to go out to space, tries to go out into the garbage disposal, not going to happen. But anyway, Singapore is, once again, continuing to play into Russia's strengths. They're playing directly into these health packs. But they also don't really have a high ground team. Ajin does swap off to the Soldier because he couldn't quite find anything. Now remember, they're not playing this high ground at all, so the Widowmaker can't do anything, which is why the Soldier is a little bit more versatile, whereas he can kind of skirmish on the ground a bit more. We're going to see off-screen Singapore finally makes their move. They're not waiting for the Zarya, they just use EMP, but I think it's a little bit odd that they actually win this fight. Let's take a look at the entry into it one more time. It's a bit confusing because of where the camera is, but we do see that Sombra, come on, turn around, Shadowburn. There we go. We do see that Sombra uses EMP, but here Singapore is already taking control of mid, largely due to Shadowburn kind of randomly being like, all right, peace out, guys. I'm gonna sit in the corner. It's so important for Shadowburn specifically, along with mistakes on the Genji Tracer, to be putting pressure on mid to prevent Singapore from just being able to walk in and do this, exactly what they're doing now. So in a lot of ways, this fight is, I mean, Shadowburn's kind of, you can give the argument maybe he's hiding for the blade, right? But in a lot of ways, I do think that that's mostly Rubicon's job as the Lucio to hide for the EMP. So in a lot of ways, the lack of pressure that Shadowburn and maybe mistakes, we weren't really looking at mistakes, we're putting on there, was kind of what led to this point being taken here. Again, playing to those weird side health packs too much when mid is so important. I know the Path of Exile patch just popped. Don't worry, we have 2 minutes 45 seconds left in this daily. You just gotta wait a second for me, Cody. We're going to see as someone wins this game. I'm not going to spoil it for us, though. Singapore has a Zarya ult. Now, this is not the super Zarya ult. This is just a regular old, not OP Zarya ult, because this is played on the old patch. Mind that. Let's see what Rage of Tofu gets, however. Russia has quite a lot. Shadowburn with a blade here. In we go. Really nice EMP, though, by the way, by Forsaken. Gets a lot of players. And the health pack was gotten, surprisingly, I'm actually shocked by this, but the health pack was hacked by Singapore first. Singapore somehow got the hack on that big health pack, even though Russia are the people with the spawn advantage. Russia only has, actually it's 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. They actually have quite a bit, but we'll actually just watch a couple more pushes because all of these pushes go the exact same way. And we're really relying here. They're waiting for the combo once again. Now, notice, this has been like 4 minutes into the match. Rage of Tofu hasn't ulted yet. A good sign that the Zarya is kind of weird for your composition. That's a good sign. When your Zarya isn't finding a good opportunity to ult, it's usually because there's some sort of synergy issue going on. Well, anyway, Neon Tears almost has the EMP. This is the big fight for them to win. Now they need to be careful because Rubicon needs to hide away from the EMP. Shadowburn, either Rubicon or Shadowburn needs to hide. We were talking before about how I think that Rubicon and Lucio, it's his job to hide and barrier after the EMP. But here we go. Any day now, Singapore will march into the point. They do have, they don't have the health pack anymore, actually. It wore off. And they get picked off after Neon Tears uses an off-screen EMP. They wasted a lot of time there. I just want to see the big push. We want to see that one Zarya ultimate that is never happening. This is literally the entire match, by the way. Okay, finally we got it. Okay, this is the match. This is the fight. This is the fight of destiny. Rage of Tofu will finally unleash the legendary Graviton Surge ability, the once per match ability. Shadowburn's off to the side here. He's being very cautious. There goes the Graviton Surge. I mean, it gets a couple people, but not quite enough. I don't think it actually results in anyone dying because they didn't combo it with, the Neon Tears didn't even stay on the Sombra anymore. And so, yeah, for sure. Singapore, finally, they're going to swap off to the Winston. It was pretty clear that Zarya was not super fun for that team composition, but it's a little bit too late. They also swapped Zest off to the Roadhog, which is a fun little thing that no one really, I mean, people noticed, I guess, but like no one really talked about it at the end there. I think that this is, okay, there we go. He actually swapped back, and Rage of Tofu is playing the Diva. I was like, man, I didn't notice he swapped off to Roadhog. That's weird. We'll watch this last push because this is the last push. As it's like I said, a little bit too little, too late. Forsaken already had the EMP / Shadowburn is saying I'm cool, I can kill everyone, and that's pretty much it. Singapore had some cool ideas, some cool innovative ideas, and I'm sure that a lot of them, like the problem with these is they're so close, right? They're so close, they make sense. We're talking about it, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I can see why they were doing that, but and in scrims it might work, but it just didn't quite happen when you're dealing with caliber of a team like Russia. So, that being said, it's time to go play some Path of Exile. I hope you all enjoyed. Tune into more Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have some guests coming on potentially that I'm pretty excited about. All right, everybody, never forget to stay positive and have a great day. See you tomorrow.